Project Hail Mary is a new sci-fi film starring Ryan Gosling and directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Here's the review. Well, let's say I enjoyed Solo, a Star Wars story as it was. Part of me always wondered what we missed out on when Phil Lord and Chris Miller were replaced by Ron Howard. Project Hail Mary kind of feels like the answer to that question, and it makes the what if burn even more. This is the version of blockbuster filmmaking that leans into personality, creativity, and emotional sincerity without sacrificing scale. If this movie is even partially the reason why Beyond the Spider-Verse is taking so long, I forgive them completely, because this absolutely blew past my expectations. Going in, I was expecting it to be around like a B at best, like smart, maybe a little slow, probably carried by Ryan Gosling's charisma, and what I got was one of the most emotionally engaging sci-fi movies in years. Not only does it have that signature Lord and Miller energy with fast, witty, creative dialogue, it also has a surprising amount of heart. A lot of heart. I genuinely did not expect to get choked up 3 separate times, and none of it feels manipulative. Those moments feel earned. What makes the film really interesting is how it tells the story. The narrative jumps between the present day survival in space and flashbacks that slowly piece together information about the main character and what's at stake. It turns what it could have been a straightforward survival story into something more layered and character driven. And at times it really feels like the old Star Trek from the 60s, a little bit more philosophical, heavy on problem solving, scientific reasoning, and moral questions, but also pulls emotional and thematic DNA from films like Interstellar and Arrival. So yeah, there's a lot of science talk, a lot of figuring things out scenes, but also some surprisingly deep emotional beats. And somehow it also balances all of that with humor that never sacrifices the stakes. And Ryan Gosling absolutely carries the movie, but not the way you'd expect. Instead of playing it cool or detached, he leans into a more awkward, human, slightly panicked energy. He's funny, he's vulnerable, he's relatable, and because the movie spends so much time with him alone, that performance has to work, and it really does. And there's a relationship with this movie that becomes the emotional backbone of the entire story. And that's where the film elevates itself from just being this really good sci-fi movie to something genuinely special. It explores themes like isolation, trust, and sacrifice. And that's where those tearjerker moments come from. And they hit hard. Honestly, I don't think the PG-13 rating was for any content reasons. There wasn't anything like super crass or inappropriate or anything where I was like, oh, that's why. Like, no. I think it got PG-13 simply because it's a movie that's very complex. It's a movie that takes its time, it explains a lot of science, and it builds its emotional arc slowly. So the pacing might be a little wonky for littler kids, like they'll be bored, but it's perfectly fine. Like, it's clean. There wasn't anything that was like drastically inappropriate. Younger kids might just find it a little bit dense and slow. But for like middle school age and up, especially anybody who likes sci-fi or wants to be an astronaut and loves science class, it's incredibly rewarding. It's fantastic. The movie is a lot better than the trailers make it look. And the trailers were already really good, but this is even like 10 times better than the trailers. Like, wow. It's smart without being pretentious, it's emotional without being cheesy, and it's funny without breaking the stakes. Lord and Miller prove once again why they're one of the best directing duos of the last 15 years, and now I'm even more excited for whatever they do next. For me, it gets an A minus, a 9 out of 10, and a 4 out of 5 stars. And yes, this thumbs down is a reference to the movie. If you know, you know.